So today I was wanting to show you how to install the coils that you've made. If you watched my last video, I showed you how to do a basic wrap, basic coils. I showed you how to wrap one on a screwdriver and a couple different jigs that I have. So today I was going to go ahead and just make a couple coils and go ahead and install them on an Addy for you, show you how I do it, the processes that I go through. Wick it, juice it, fire it up, vape on it for a second, just kind of show you the whole process of how it goes. I pre-wrapped a couple coils. I didn't want to show you how to wrap them because, like I said, I showed you how to do that on the last video. So let's get right down to it, okay? So what you're going to need today to do this build is you're going to need some wire, and I chose 24 gauge nichrome 80, and we're going to do duals today, and I've already inputted all of my information on steam engine, the size wire, what ohms I want to be at, and it gives me the information that I need, how many wraps to put on whatever size post that I'm going to use. I chose to use a 3mm is what I'm using, and I'm not going to actually wrap a coil. I did that in my last video. I showed you how to wrap a coil on a screwdriver on a couple jigs that I have, just to try to keep these videos as short as possible. So we're going to use 24 gauge nichrome 80 because that's what I have available. You're going to need some pliers, which I use these a lot. You're going to need some cutters, some side cutters, some flush cuts. You saw these in my last video. You'll need some scissors. You'll be able to cut your wicking material. I'm using Japanese cotton today, and I've already got a couple strips pre-cut, but I love these scissors. They're great for guys with big hands. You don't have to put your fingers or anything inside the little holes. They're sharp, and I only use them to cut cotton, and these have lasted me a year already, so these are great. Pick these up at Walmart. They're nice. You're going to need some tweezers. I use ceramic tweezers quite a bit. If you don't have a pair, they're worth the money to get, but you don't necessarily have to have the ceramic tweezers. You can just use regular tweezers. And the Addy that I'm going to put it on today is I'm going to put it on the Mutation X V1. It's a 3-post design, and we're going to dual this out. And I've already got 2 coils pre-wrapped. I wrap them on my Hero coiler, 3mm, and here are my 2 coils. 10 wrap coils. So let's get started getting these installed. So I like to put them on my screwdriver, and if you notice, one lead is longer than the other. That'll make it a lot easier to install. If both leads are the same length, then it's kind of hard to put 2 wires in 2 different holes at the same time. So it's a lot easier to feed your longer lead in first, and then once it gets started, and then you can put in your second lead, and it just makes it so much easier. And you want your coil up against, I like to go up against my post, and I can always pull it away a little bit later, but I like to start off there. And you want to tighten down your negative post, and on these, your center post is your positive post, and your post on the outside are your negatives. And so when you install it, you're going to have 2 wires in that center post. So once you get your first coil kind of in place, and you have it in place with your screwdriver, you want to hold it down, and then you can tighten down Make sure it's snug, not overly tight, but just nice and snug. And then I'm just going to pull that out of the way for now. I'm going to go ahead and cut this other lead on the positive because it's going to be in my way when I go to install the second coil. So when I go to install my second coil, I'm going to put on the other side, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure by eye where I need to cut that lead that's going in the positive. And you can't see that. See if we can't get this in there. That is so blurry. Huh. It's amazing. There we go. So what I want to do is I'm going to eyeball that, and I'm going to cut that lead there that's going in the positive post. I'm going to pre-cut it before I install it, because if I don't, that wire is going to go through. It's going to be difficult to cut, and if you do cut it, you might take a chance of cutting the lead on the other coil, and you got to start completely over. So what I want to do is I'm going to take that lead and I'm going to pre-cut it to the length that I want it now. So that way when I install this, so again I go my negative, and then I'm going to try to get this to slide in, which it's not going to cooperate. Get down here where you can see. May have to do this by hand here. Just kind of hard with these big mugs of thumbs and stuff. But you know, okay, we got it in there. And I want to go up against the post again. Kind of hard to do this on camera, and my camera kind of sucks. I'm going to tighten down that negative. Now we can go ahead and tighten down the positive too, because we have both wires in there. Make sure it's snug. And then now what I like to do is I like to position these and just kind of get them even, get them parallel. I like them straight, I don't like them slanted. I look at it from the top. I want it parallel to this, so I'll just take it and just kind of pull out just a little bit. Pull that out to where it looks pretty parallel. We'll do the same thing with the other one. Sit there and we'll just tweak it, just barely pull it. They look like they're at the same height, not one's higher than the other. Doesn't look too bad. And that's what you're looking for right there. So now we can go ahead and trim off these leads. Now we can start working on making sure that they're firing properly, that the glow is going from the inside out, and make sure, and this is where we can tighten up the coils themselves, because as it heats up, that metal gets hot, and you can pinch it with your tweezers, and that'll tighten up those coils. So I got this on a Mac here. We'll start the firing process, and you'll see that it's starting to glow on the outside. You just want to pulse it. Just pulse it. And it'll start to fire up. And what you can do is you can take your screwdriver and just go across these like this. Because you're trying to get that glow to start in the center. Or you can take your screwdriver, go to the inside of it, and just kind of wiggle it a little bit. And do that to both of them. Take your tweezers and just pinch. Just pinch them down a little bit. It's getting there. Still a couple little hot spots. We'll just take our tweezers. Pinch them down a little bit. It's getting there. It's getting there. A couple little more pinches. Wiggle the coil a little bit. There we go. Now if I can just get this focused in. That looks really good. Looks good. Alright. Now I'm going to let this cool down for a minute, and then we'll wick it. Alright. So now we're ready for the wicking process, and I've got 2 pieces of Japanese cotton here. And what you want to do is just, you don't want to twist. You just want to kind of just lightly roll it to kind of compress it down just a little bit. And then really pinch one end and roll it in your fingers like this. That way it makes it a lot easier to install it into the coil. You take it and you want to pull it through. You want to make sure that your wicking material is touching the inside of the coil. There's no loose spots. You don't want it so tight that whenever you pull on it, you can't get it to go through. You want it snug, but you don't want it super tight. You don't want it super loose, because if it's too loose, you could get a burnt taste whenever you go to vape on this. So you take that. I got another piece here. Just take it and you just kind of roll it. Run that through. pull it through. And you want to take your scissors. You want to trim it. I usually trim it just outside of the perimeter of the addy, just where it sticks past, maybe about a 1/4 inch. That's about what I cut mine at. So it looks like so. I like to go ahead and kind of pre-juice it up a little bit now. That's nice. Take a screwdriver and just kind of tuck it in and under. Tuck it in and under. Finish juicing this thing up. Make sure your cotton is completely saturated. If you fire it up before it's completely saturated, you'll burn your cotton and you'll have a burnt taste. Fires up pretty good. Let's check the ohms. We should be around 0.33, 0.34, somewhere in there. I'll take that off. I'm going to put this on the ohm reader. .30. It's pretty close. Not bad. It's a good starting off ohm for a beginner. Especially with dual coils, it's not bad. It's not going to be a very hot vape at all. It's going to be nice and cool. And with the amount of wraps that we have on there, you're going to get some flavor also. So we'll take this back up top and we'll take a few pulls off of it and show you some of the production. So we did our build. I'm going to put some more juice on it here. Does pretty good. It's a 0.3 ohm. Let's put the cap on it. It's a Mutation X V1. Great build for any beginner. Main thing is just to make sure that your wraps are nice and tight and close up to each other, and whenever you fire it up the first time, pinch, make sure your coils are touching. You don't have anything overlapping, and you should be very happy with this. If 0.3 is a little too low for you to want to start off with, then start off with 26 gauge and do the same thing. Do about 9 or 10 wraps. It should be a little bit higher. It might end up being around 0.5, maybe a little lower. I don't know. I have to actually figure it out. I don't know those kinds of numbers right off the top of my head. So again, I hope this helped. Sorry for the quality of the video. My phone isn't the greatest, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what to do, and these are the kind of things that I do, and I hope it helps, and we'll see you next time.